Hello everybody, Marcos Cabrera here. Before this lesson start, I want to talk to you about a very special event that is going to occur next week, the Harmonica week, where I'm going to be teaching from Monday to Friday, every day, everything I know about chromatic and diatonic harmonica. Now, enjoy your lesson. Let's get started. Your very first lesson when learning any instrument is going to be understanding and learning how to play your major scale. Harmonica is not different from other instruments. First thing you have to know is that the sound of this scale, do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do, happens because of the distribution of the notes inside this scale. For example, a C major scale is a 7-note type of a scale with the repetition of the root, and from the first degree to the second degree we have a tone which is going from C to D, as you can see here. Then from the second to the third degree we have another tone which is going from D to E, as you can see here. From the third to the fourth degree we have a semitone going from E to F. From the fourth to the fifth degree we have another tone going from F to G. From the fifth to the sixth degree we have one more tone going from G to A. From the sixth to the seventh degree of the scale we have our last tone going from A to B. And then from the seventh degree of the scale to the root, the repetition of the root, which is the octave, we have a semitone going from B to C. And this is what makes, this rule is what makes the scale sound like this. Now you might be wondering, what is a tone, what is a semitone? It's simply a way of making a difference between intervals, because when you go from one note to another one, as you can see here on the piano keyboard that I try to write here for you to understand better, is that sometimes we have black keys in the middle, and if we go from one note to a black key, this is a semitone. If we go one more note and we get to that other white note, then we have a tone. Specifically from E to F, like you can see here, there is no black key. Also, same thing happens from B to C. Now, if we want to understand the other scales, major scale in other keys, we have to think about this rule, and probably things will change a little bit. Now that you know the difference between a tone and a semitone, it's time to analyze other scales, like our G major scale. I will encourage you to write the scale without sharps or flat notes, like this: G, A, B, C, D, E, F, G. And then think if the interval is correct. On the first degree to the second degree, we have G to A. Is this correct? It is, because there is actually a black key between G and A. Now, from the second to the third degree, A to B. Is this correct? Is this a tone? Yes, because from A to B, we have another black key. Now, from the third degree to the fourth degree, is there a semitone? Yes, because there is no black key between B and C. From the fourth to the fifth degree, is there a tone? Yes, because between C and D, there is the presence of a black key. Let's continue. From the fifth degree to the sixth degree, is there another tone? Yes, because between D and E, we have one more black key, right? Now, from the sixth to the seventh degree of this scale we have here, is there a tone, as the rule here says? No, because from E to F, there is no black key. So, we need to change the name of this note and make it an F sharp. Because if you think from E to F sharp here on the piano keyboard, E to F sharp, there is actually a tone. And finally, from the 7 to the 8, which is a repetition of the root, is there a semitone? Yes, because from F sharp to G, there is no two notes. And this is what is going to make our G scale be a G major scale. If you make it like this, it's going to be a G mixolydian scale, which is a more advanced concept we will analyze in other lessons. Let's think of one more scale before I get to the playing part, and let's analyze the F major scale. Same process. We write from F to F, F, G, A, B, C, D, E, F, and let's check if the intervals are correct. From the first to the second degree, we do have a tone because between F and G there is a presence of a black key. Then from G to A, which is going from the second to the third degree of our scale, we do have a tone 2, so it is correct, because if you see here, from G to A, there is actually a black key. Now from the third to the fourth degree, is this correct? A to B? No, because check it out, A to B, there is a black key between these two notes. To be a semitone, this B, we have to be B flat. Now it is correct. We do have a semitone between A to B flat. Let's continue. From the fourth to the fifth degree, is there a tone? We are on B flat, and we are going to see, yes, there is a tone, because there are two notes there, right? Okay, now from C to D, which is going from the fifth to the sixth degree, is this correct? Is there a tone? Yes. Now let's think, going from the sixth to the seventh degree, is this correct? From D to E, do we have a tone? Yes. And finally, from E to F, are we having a semitone? Yes. Now let's get to the playing part. Before I explain you how to play the major scales we have studied previously, let me talk to you a little bit about the chromatic scale on both chromatic and diatonic harmonica. Let's get started with the chromatic harmonica, which I think is easier since we have this slide button that will allow us to play all notes possible on any instrument. Imagine you have a 12-hole chromatic harmonica, and we start here on the first blow, right? Then we use the slide bottom to get our C sharp. Then we draw and we get our D on the draw side of the one hole. And then we use the slide bottom again and we draw one with the slide bottom in and we get D sharp. If we continue to the top of our instrument doing the same, we are going to get the chromatic scale in 3 octaves. We even get a D, a high D on the 3rd octave. Now, on diatonic harmonica, it's going to be a little bit more complicated. Let me take this board and put it in another position so you are able to check it out better. If we want to play the chromatic scale on our C diatonic harmonica, for example, because diatonic harmonicas, we can find them easily in many keys. So if we want to play the chromatic scale on our C, we have to be aware of different techniques because the instrument is not prepared for that. So we have to be prepared to blow and draw notes. This is the nature of harmonica, right? But we also have to be aware of draw bending, for example, blow bending, or even doing something that is more difficult, that is going to be overblowing, that happens here from holes 1 to 6, or overdrawing from holes 7 to 10. So let me just play the chromatic scale on my C diatonic harmonica so you can have a taste of how it sounds. Now, let's forget about that bunch of notes from the chromatic scale and let's focus on practicing some major scales. Of course, the C major scale is the very first major scale you will learn on any musical instrument. And as I already said, the harmonica is not different from other instruments. Imagine you have a 12-hole chromatic harmonica and you play your one blow, one hole draw 2-hole blow, 2-hole draw, 3-hole blow, 3-hole draw, 4-hole draw, and 5-hole blow. Remember, there was a C here on the 4 blow. It's a repetition of the same note. On our little diatonic harmonica, that doesn't happen. Here, what we'll do is simply avoid that note because it's going to confuse us if we want to continue playing the other octave. So it's better if we play the 5th hole blow to get that C, and then when we draw we get our D, and then we repeat this pattern, this scale diagram, let's call it like that, and you are going to be able to play all around the 3 octave of your 12-hole chromatic harmonica. Let's do it. Now, there are 2 ways of playing this C major scale on our chromatic harmonica, because when we use the slide button on the 5th hole, on the 2nd hole, 6th hole, or 10th hole, we get the F, because E sharp is the same as F. And when we play our B on the 4-hole draw, 8-hole draw, we are getting B sharp or C natural. So we can play the C major scale using E sharp and using B sharp. If we have a more legato sound, or we want this note on that position to make a bend, to make it more faster to play it, then you can play the scale like this. Let me show you. Now, on our diatonic harmonica, things will get a little more complicated on our first octave and last octave too. Okay, now I just changed the board so you can check it out better. And on the middle octave, from holes 4 to 7, is only the typical blow on the 4, draw on the 4, C, D, then same thing on the 5th hole, E, F, same thing on the 6th hole, G, A, then on the 7, we change the direction and we draw to get our B, and we blow to get our C. But on our first octave, we are having F on the whole step bend, 2 whole step bend, and A on the 3 whole step bend. On the third octave, we're having the B, 7 degree, on the 10 hole half step bend, blow half step bend. So, and here, now if we think of our G major scale on chromatic harmonica, we just simply have to add the F sharp to the pattern we already learned. On diatonic, we simply have to add the F sharp that is located specifically on the second hole, as you can see here. Draw half step bend only. On the 5th hole overblow, and on the 9th hole blow bend. Well, if you have enjoyed this lesson, subscribe to my channel, check out also my Facebook and Instagram pages, let your friends know about this wonderful event, and send us an email to harmonicamasterclass@gmail.com if you want to get a PDF for this lesson.